everybody, welcome back. In this video we're going to try to take some of the mystery out of upgrading this compound tool post that come with the Smithy to a BXA sized quick change tool post. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to completely disassemble the little original compound tool post that come with the machine. We're going to look at it, take some measurements, measure this thing here, and see what we got to do to get this mounted onto this. Alright, so let's take this thing apart and see what we got. Alright, so let's take a look at what we got here. I've got the little compound tool post broke all the way down to this point. And here's the, the little made in China knockoff tool post, okay? Alright, so here's the little Chicago bolt that Smithy sells so that you can put the quick change tool post onto their compound. Alright, well, this doesn't work. Maybe on an AXA size tool post it might work, but for this application today it doesn't. So take a look here real quick. Let's screw this out. Alright, so the idea was that you could buy your tool post, your quick change, and it would go on there, and then this would be the adapter. You see that doesn't work, and this stud doesn't fit into that hole either. So don't waste your money on this if you're going to be putting a BXA on, and I'm not even sure if this would work on an AXA unless you did some modifying somehow. So that's 15 bucks wasted right there. Alright, so what we're going to do next is I'm going to take this stud here out and we'll see what we got. Alright, so this stud here that sticks up, you can see here, it's just it's a one-piece job and it's pressed in. Alright, so this stud here, you can see, it's just a big stud. It's one piece and it's pressed in from the bottom, and it also has a roll pin drove into it so that it won't turn. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this out and get it out of the way. Alright, so what we're going to do, the plan right now is I'm going to put this in the Smithy and I'm going to carefully machine this round hole and make it a square hole, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to do some machining. So let's get over here on the Smithy and get her cranked up. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to crank the machine up, get the depth down a little ways, and we're going to turn this hole, this circle, into a square hole, the same depth as what it is now, and it's going to be 1.25 inches, okay? That's what we're shooting for, 1.25 inches, square hole in this. Alright, so let's get this machine cranked up and get going. Next up is we need to take this block here that came with the quick change tool post, and we're going to lay out on here exactly the dimensions we want with some layout fluid and just scribe some lines, and then we're going to put them in the saw and saw them off, and then we're going to use the shaper to get this thing to this dimension. Alright, so let's go get to work. Alright guys, so here's what we've got. We took that big piece of metal and I laid it out, about the dimensions that we need. Maybe just a little bit big on these lines. Then I can sneak up on it if I need to. But what I'm going to do now is we're going to take this, we're going to put it in the metal shaper, and we're going to start bringing it down to these lines here. And then we're going to shrink that even farther, the thickness of it, once we get the size right. So let's get over here to the shaper. Alright guys, so we got this thing set up in the Amco metal shaper. I've got the stroke set up on it. And so now all I got to do is, we got to get one good flat side to start with. So I'm going to bring it over and we're going to get the tool bit down and let it make a pass, and let's see if we can get a good trued up surface to work with. so there you can see we machined that down to that line. Now we're going to flip it over and do the other side. Alright guys, here's what we've got so far. We've had this thing now in the shaper for a while, and we've got it, you know, the basic outside dimensions are right. And now you can see that how tall it is. We've got to machine this, you know, use the shaper and just take this thing down all the way down till it's this thick. So right now I'm going to put this back into the shaper, and we're going to start taking this thickness down. Alright gang, so after a lot of work on the shaper and just letting it run, this is what we got. We took that great big block and put it in the bandsaw and sawed off the edges and stuff, you know, trimmed it back. Put it in the shaper, and we cut it down to the right dimensions there, and then we machined it down to this thickness, which will lay right in there just like this. Okay, just like that. Alright guys, so here's what we've got so far. You know, we've got all this machined down like we talked about, and you know, got the tool post mounted on it, got everything sucked down good and tight. Everything's, you know, where it's not going to move. And now I'm going to come in here with my MIG welder, and I'm going to be careful not to put too much heat on it and warp it. But I'm going to come in here, man, I'm going to burn these corners in good, and then I'm going to get this stud here in the middle, get all this married together into one piece. And then we'll flip it over and do some more welding on the other side. So I come in here and I put a little bit of weld on top, and then, you know, worked on it and got it back down nice and flat. And then down here, we did the same thing. I come in here in those gaps and I put some weld in there, and then I welded the bottom of this stud to the little piece that we made. And then I put this into the shaper and I shaped it down, got it close. I mean, listen, that's great. And this up here is looking pretty good. So all of this now is one unit. It's not going anywhere. So let's start reassembling. All right, so the little tool post just slides right down on there. You can see she sits flat. Looks good. Put a nut on it. Alright, so there we are guys, you see that? So all this is tied together as one unit, and I think it's going to be plenty strong just like it is. So next up we're going to get this thing reassembled and take another look at it, okay? Alright guys, well we've got this thing pretty well back together. I just need to put my bolts in and nuts in right there and get it mounted back on the Smithy later and see how it does, but I'm pretty happy with it, man. We got it nice and tight. It's in there, and we'll see how it does. You know, if it's don't work out, I'll let you know. But so far so good, and that's kind of what it takes to put one of these things on. You got to do a little bit of machining, be creative, and be patient to get that thing mounted on this little small compound tool post that come with the Smithy. Alright guys, thanks for watching my little video where we took the, you know, the little quick change tool post and modified, did a bunch of machining to get this thing onto the little compound tool post that came with the Smithy, and turned out pretty good. But we'll see, you know, the proof's in the pudding. We'll get it on the machine here in the next few days or a week, and we'll do some machining and report back on how it does. Well everybody, I really appreciate you watching my little video, and I hope you come back for the next one.